The changing landscape of the housing market in Las Vegas requires a real estate professional that understands how to get your offer accepted, willing to go above and beyond for service and accountability. Hi, my name is Dan French. I've been in the real estate and financing industry for over 13 years. Most real estate agents struggle with answering their phone. Please call me directly, 702-557-6176. I'm available for all your real estate needs.
Dan's a fantastic man. He really is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
And what's going on, everybody? It's Saturday morning, so that means it's the French Workbench podcast, and we got a nice show for you today. Not a great show, I guess. I guess it's a great show.
Every show's a great show.
It's a beautiful show with beautiful
It's
people.
a nice show. I don't know.
I don't know about nice. Depends how much you piss me off. I'm just kidding.
You guys know this is the most real behind-the-scenes information on financing, real estate, money talk happening here in Las Vegas. I'm your host, Dan French. Epic show? How about epic?
I think I can feel one in the making.
How about a rainy day weekend show?
Rainy day weekend epic show.
Epic show.
Just
There
so
you go.
epic onto it.
Dude. So what have you been up to, Brett? Brett, Jen, you guys know who this guy is.
Oh, me. What I was calling you about yesterday, Dan, that you never picked up, and then you tried to call me back was too late.
What were you calling me about?
I got invited by Proppy to speak at the Bitcoin conference in Miami.
Who's Proppy?
The real estate platform where you can do NFTs, cryptocurrency, and regular real estate transactions.
Oh, wow.
So they're a tech company out of San Francisco, started, I think, like 4 or 5 years ago. And they literally have done the only NFT houses in the world.
Are we getting any closer
And you can do a regular real estate
to...
basically put everything on blockchain. They have their own title company, put everything on blockchain and everything. So they're basically the leading platform in the world right now for tech, for like Web3 real estate transactions or cryptocurrency transactions, because they literally have an entire platform.
Very cool.
To do all that, facilitate it all from regular deals to all. You put everything on blockchain. All parties involved can see what's happening in the transaction at all times. So anyways, yeah, I mean, I had been messaging back and forth with those guys, and they said, yeah, we'd love to have you come speak with us at the Bitcoin conference in Miami. I think it's in a couple of months. So
Are
Bitcoin.
we getting any closer to doing Bitcoin or blockchain for real estate
I mean, you can do it right now. It's just a matter of people willing to. I mean, to be honest with you,
have we
to
done
do,
it?
To do a
actually?
cryptocurrency transaction right now is more of a novelty act.
Okay.
In the sense of if you actually use your crypto for it, at the end of the day, it basically essentially has to be a cash deal.
Okay.
So at some point, it has to be exchanged and converted into cash for the title company to take it, for the bank to take it, and all that stuff, and especially for government taxes and HOAs and all that stuff has to be in cash. So it's more of a kind of a novelty right now, to be honest with you. Because like I said, it's all structured in cash at the end. But what it does is you can still, though, do a regular real estate transaction right now, and it puts it all on blockchain. The most important part about it is it's being put on blockchain because at all points, every party involved can see what's going on.
And will you still need a title and a deed?
Like
and all
the appraisal's
that other
sitting there, the home inspection's sitting there,
Yeah.
any addendums are sitting there, so everybody knows what's happening all at once.
Dude, Brett came out firing today, people.
Yeah. Been building, man.
It's been
Sitting all week by myself, reading, no one around me, man. It's like I'm a nerd all week, and then
I
come
just
out
said
here
hello, and Brett gave us the whole...
This is my breakout, man. Can you tell? You can tell I've just been sitting alone in my office all week, just like reading and absorbing, and finally get out with among people. Here we are.
Yeah.
So you guys know Doug. What's going on, Doug? Doug or not? What's
Good
up,
morning.
buddy?
Oh, just another day in paradise.
Living the dream, right, Doug?
Living the dream, man.
Dude, so rain, huh? A lot of rain going on in Las
I
Vegas.
love it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the casinos don't love it as much, which we were kind of talking about before. How the hell you design $100 million properties and have it rain like that? I don't know, but that's Las Vegas.
Well, then they're not missing a beat. People are going to spend money, man. Dude, it rains, sunshine. It doesn't matter. It'd be
Dude, people are
130.
sitting in a slot with one hand, Cell phone
umbrella
recording the rain with the other.
and umbrella in the other, right?
The smoke. Yeah.
All right, so you guys
They
know
just cover up their oxygen tank too. You know?
There you go, man. I've seen that before.
we're going to talk a lot about what's happening with the housing market and our new listings starting to slow down. We're also going to talk about what's going on with this 2022 the Inflation Reduction, this Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 that was recently passed. Is this going to really help with the inflation woes that we see here in Las Vegas and also across the country, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about what the impact that will be with this new bill that they've passed. And also I'm going to talk about what's happening with this market and what we see out there. Are we still seeing inventory increasing? We're past double digits. We're at 10,000 plus new homes on the market. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So first off, anything new happening in your guys' world within Las Vegas? I know we talked about the weather. Do you guys have anything else to add to Las Vegas? Anything that you know, Brett? Are you putting this, like, are you really in some deep thought over here? Like, dude, what's really happening in Las Vegas?
Yeah, it's just, man, it just feels like it's just kind of a wait and see approach in this town right now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's just like everything right now is just kind of everybody is starting to get antsy. Like with real estate and business and everything going again. Obviously, I'm not down with the Strip at all. So, I mean, that's got its own scene. But it just feels like everybody in this town is just kind of, it's that transition of everyone starting school and things are getting ready for...
Well, the sphere is getting pretty close to finishing up or has finished up, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's the latest and greatest. But
well, people know that this time of year is typically starting to slow down. Because you are right. Kids go back to school.
Yeah.
I think the winter months are the best times to buy a house. Not always. I mean, look, I have people that are real active in December, November, October.
A lot of investors.
Yeah, but aren't you a realtor? Isn't always a good time to buy a house?
Yeah, because I mean, look, man, I'm biased and I want to sell and I want to make money and I want you guys to help me go to that next level, right? That's what our goal is. No.
Yeah.
Well, the trends
I'm joking. You gotta have a little fun.
Trends tell the story though. I could look back on my stuff and it's like always August is like down and then and then sometimes October, November, it usually picks up towards the end in October is what my stuff shows, and then it goes.
We're fortunate out here, man. Try selling going right now into the fall in winter in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin?
That's where I'm from, Dan. But try selling in the Midwest going into the fall and winter.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, you think it slows down here?
Yeah.
It's like you could go on vacation for 4 months and no one even know you're gone there.
This is a 13-month town.
I want to say a couple things too. I'm getting a lot of questions recently about being that a realtor and out there, and is this the right time to buy? And what do you see happening? And I've kind of explained a little bit. A lot of things that I've thought or predicted that may happen. Most of it's happened. Some things I'm not. We're not economists, but we just kind of make sure and just kind of watch what we're seeing out there. But I want to bring this topic up because I think that there's a lot of things that people have to kind of wrap their mind around. Of is now a good time based upon your scenario? And when you ask a real estate agent or anybody in sales, they're going to say, well, I think most people are going to say yes. I'm going to say yes too, but I'm also going to say, what's your motivation, right? Like, do you need to buy a house or do you want to buy a house? And there's a lot of other factors that come into it. And I think for me, I always go back and say, well, if you're asking me if now's a good time to buy, are you asking me based upon saving money? Are you asking me based upon, are you talking about interest rates? Are you asking me, is this the best time ever to buy a house in Las Vegas? Or has there been a better time? I'm going to say no to all those. This is not the best. You're not seeing the best rates. You're not going to save the most money, right? This is not where you're getting pennies on the dollar. It really comes down to do you really need to buy a house or do you want to buy a house? And I think there's a big disconnect on when you watch videos like this or you watch real estate agents. If you ask them, hey, is it a good time to buy? I think anybody could put together a justification for both ways.
And I mean, listen, I get it. I get it, right?
Yeah.
Ask a realtor, of course, they're going to say yes or sell. Like, I get that whole, well, if you're asking a realtor, of course, they're going to say yes. I absolutely get that. because I apply that theory to like many other business. Like if I'm buying a car,
sure.
Like I'm the same way. So
Go ask a car salesman if it's a good time to buy a car.
I totally get it.
Well, it's like, oh, you got the car salesman tactic. Like, oh, you said it was great. Well, listen, if you're asking the question,
do you need a car?
Why don't you rephrase the question? Say, here's my objective. My objective is to save the most money.
Yeah.
And if you said, Dan, is now the best time, I'm going to say no. Because you're not going to save the most money based upon other
It depends
markets.
on your situation. Right now might be a good time for you to buy. Right now might be a bad time for you to buy. Only you know that. I mean,
might be a good time to buy a Toyota right now, or might be a good time to buy a Mercedes right
kind
now.
of the one
Just
thing
depends.
about real estate, though, that's different than a lot of other businesses or subjects is that everybody needs a place to live. Right? I mean, I know you need transportation, but you can take a bus if you don't have a car. You can, I'm not saying that deal, but regardless, you still need a place to either rent or you need a place to buy.
Well, but here's the thing. You can say it like this, too, is that the necessity of shelter is always a high cost, regardless if you're renting or not.
Right.
I think it's more about, do you want to get into a marriage or commitment of a 30-year fixed rate mortgage or just buying into a house because it is a long-term investment. It's the biggest investment most people make. I think the decision making on that is significantly higher. But I want to say that, look, if you're going to ask any salesman, hey, is this the right time to buy or is it not? You can always paint that picture that, you know what, I can see, I've been down the road, right? I've seen and experienced a lot of different markets. Here's the pros of this market. So I can justify why you would buy in this market. But there's also other things that I could say, hey, it's not the best time to buy either. I think it comes down to, do you need or do you want to buy a house, right? And that's a big question. It
depends what your situation is.
Yeah.
Listen, if you're young and you're like, hey, I just got married, I just moved to Las Vegas, and I'm starting a career, and, if you live in your... I don't think there's too many places that I can think of, if any at all, that you look at in this country where you bought a house 10 years ago, unless you took out home equity loans or whatever it was, are upside down.
Yeah.
Everybody, every single person's in the plus. So,
So my question is this.
If you're going to live there for 5, 6, 7 years, and hey, you know what? The market might go down a little bit, but overall, I'm going to make, and regardless, you need a place to live. So say you have a $2,000 a month mortgage payment. If you're renting, well, even if the market goes down and you have a $2,000 mortgage payment and the market goes down and say what your house is really worth now, your payment should only be $1,700. Well, I'm paying $300 over in a sense because the market's gone down. But if you're paying, say, $2,000 or even $1,500 a month in rent, you're still paying $1,500 a month towards somebody else's mortgage versus your own, regardless.
Yeah.
The bottom line is that
it depends how you look at it and what your situation is.
The only person that's going to know that answer is you.
Absolutely.
Right? And I think there's a big thing out there where people are saying, well, realtors, and look, I'm just going to say this. If you're going to call me and ask for support, I'm going to give you the support. Why would I not want to earn your business? Now, if you want to wait, we're starting to talk about here with the supply, right? Are new listings starting to decline a bit? They are, just slightly. Maybe this market and people out there that are potentially looking to list their home is starting to slow down because they're not seeing those houses starting to sell as quick.
So it's not that's necessarily declining. It's
not
that
declining.
it's not
It's
doing
slowing.
this.
It's
Because
slowing.
we went like 150% in a month and a half.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, dude, that's rocket fuel, baby.
I don't see any less activity in a sense of people out there. I'm starting to see more activity where people are looking into buying now. You're starting to see that their curiosity of, okay, we've settled into that 5% plus interest rate. We potentially see that inflation's starting to come down, even though it's slightly. We'll talk about that in a second. But is it at a level where we're back in the market? Some are starting to come back in the market. I think I need to see the signs that this thing has leveled off a bit.
Yep.
And now we've made the adjustments.
And they've got choices now too. I mean, people got choices. There's no need or no.
So that's the thing, right?
No dire,
now that
house consequence for not getting a house.
Now that house is in your price point and you have 6 or 7 choices.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about buying, but man, now I've got like 6 or 7 choices. They're more around what I can afford.
Yeah.
That's exactly what gets people buying again.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about what's happening with this Inflation Act. So we know that they've passed this Inflation Reduction Act, right, recently, and they're putting in more money into circulation. They're going to, over the next 10 years, supposed to reduce inflation. They want that 2% mark. But is this a position where we're now, I mean, it's been like this forever, where we have to print money or, put digital currency. It's not printing money, that's the concept. But because now it's like, look, man, we have inflation. It's here to stay. I can't see why people out there don't look at this and go, well, how is this going to reduce inflation?
Well, that's my question is what, I guess, so you said this is over like a 10-year plan.
How do you spend money to reduce inflation?
My question is, okay, fine. You want to, I don't give a shit how you spin it, 5-year, 10-year, whatever you got to do to sell it, dude, sell it, right?
Right.
But what's the immediate impact right now? Like, did they come out and say this is what we expect to have the immediate impact in? Or is it just simply, hey, guys, we have a problem because we've printed too much money, so now we're going to solve it by printing more money?
Yeah.
Think about the premise of that right there, man. Where do you think that's going to head?
Yeah. Well, it's supposed to go to climate, and it's also supposed to go to tax and healthcare incentives.
Okay.
So again, the thing is this, is that if we already have an inflation issue, how do you combat that with more?
So what's it supposed to combat if it's going towards climate?
It's supposed to reduce the inflation numbers we see now over a period of time.
Okay.
And what they're saying is it's going to be a very small percentage of inflation reduction by using this or doing this. Yet I still don't see how, if you're already have more money in circulation than you need, putting more money into that circulation or into that system, how is it going to help with the inflation issues that we consistently see? Because I see this not happening. I see inflation is going to continue to be here, and it's probably going to be here for our foreseeable future. This isn't going to change anytime soon, right? What do you think about it, Doug?
I think if you took $739 billion and divided that up among all the families in this country, I think your inflation would go away in a heartbeat.
Because people would spend it.
Yeah, people would spend it. You'd
kick it right back to the economy.
And people would grow a business. Yep. People would start farming again. People would look at alternative means.
But that would be you actually being able to control your own money, Doug. That's crazy.
I know. We can't do
well, I mean, gasoline's coming down. They said necessities are coming down. But at the same time, it's already overly inflated.
I think we're just getting used to it. I mean, I haven't really noticed that much a difference in anything for prices. It's still more than I've ever been paying for most things. So I think it's just people are starting to get used to it more, which is what happens. Yeah, and people realize the world's not coming to an end, and we'll stay alive and live.
So with that same concept, do you feel that that's what's happening in the housing market, where rent inflation and housing inflation for homes, people are starting to get used to that? It's almost like, shoot, man, I don't want to pay all this. I don't want to deal with this. You got this Inflation Act. You got housing still high. And yes, it's the highest it's ever been. We still have record numbers on what home appreciation was and still sustaining those prices, even though we've seen some of these price points where they're offering less than list price, 50, 60. Yeah. I've seen somebody that offered $75,000 less on a home, $850,000, and had that accepted. So yes, even though that these prices and you're seeing these offers put in less than list, you're still seeing housing inflation and rent still at all-time highs. Yeah. So I think people are just adjusted.
Well, what you're starting to see taken out of the market now are a lot of the flippers, the house flippers. Not all, but I know quite a few wholesalers, and they basically are all like, dude, all of our buyers that were coming to us before that were buying direct from us that were flipping, they're coming to us now basically saying, whatever the price home is, you got to take a market value, and they need to get it after acquisition cost, after repair cost, after including commissions, basically after the value of selling it, they need to come in at 65% market value. Yeah. To just be able to basically say it at the end of the day, after they take into account all those things, they need to be able to put it on the market, basically 35%. Or absorb 35% what the current value is of it right now for market value, just in case in the next couple months, by the time they get it done and stick in the money, they have that wiggle room in there. If the market comes down, they can still make money.
So James got a question here. And by the way, guys, if you're out there and you're looking to ask a question, I mean, look, we'll answer it to the best of our ability. We're not an expert in all fields, but we'll do our best, right? So you look at here, he says the main problem is corporation and greedy investors are using housing as a profit machine. Next is water and air. I mean, look, to answer that question, I would agree. Yet when I looked up the numbers, like I agree with what he's saying. But when I looked up the numbers, it's a real small number as far as how much investors are really investing. on the housing percentage here in Las Vegas. I think it's like 10%. So are they coming in and storing their money in these properties? Absolutely. It's just now you're starting to see this influx of homes that's coming on the market.
There's many more consumers than there are investors.
Right. So to answer that though, I mean, would you guys agree that, again, is that part of it, right? Is it the problem is corporations and greedy investors using
It's
housing,
part of it, yes.
housing as a profit?
It's part of it.
But it's not a huge part of it, right?
Well, keep in mind that before the housing crisis in 07, 08, hedge funds stayed away from housing.
Yeah,
In every time that there's ever been for hedge funds, they've never invested in housing until the housing crash happened in 07, 08.
Yeah,
that was the first time that they came in and bought it up by the bulk load, because they knew it was an opportune time that you'll never, and I mean never in our lifetime, see that again. And they were able to use that, come in, buy it out, and then they rehabbed them and rented them all out and became Invitation Homes. And then they took that stock and then sold that portfolio on the stock market. So now you see them getting into crypto and all these other things. So yeah, it's a part of it, which is now it's become a place for them to park their money and grow their money, which is in the past, they'd never done that. Hedge funds in Wall Street had never done that.
I don't know if it's growing their money.
It is in a sense.
Well, let me say this. If I come into this market and let's say I plant it now, I'm not saying, but you're starting to see decline. So I think it's more of housing is always going to be a tool for, it never goes away. Like the housing sector, even if we decline 50%, which I don't think that's going to happen, and I'm telling you, but even if we did, the housing market's always come back.
That's what I'm saying.
And
so in a 5, 7, 10-year period, they absolutely will make money. Not to mention the years that it goes up in between there, that they can draw equity out that and buy and use that to invest. I mean, they guarantee they will. They're billions of dollars company. They don't do things that doesn't make them money.
What were you going to say, Doug?
Well, I was just going to say the hedge funds will always come in, and they're never going to overspend for a house. I mean, they're going to, like the last crash. You were talking about the last crash. They came in and bought them for $2,000 on a property, and then they got them in bulk. They got thousands of properties in bulk, and then they at that point, I think you can manipulate. I think the guys, right.
They bought so much percentage.
They can manipulate the price to whatever they want it to be.
Yeah, because then they just held on to them, renting them out while they're holding on to them.
Yeah.
And then packaged them all into a bundle and then sold that off to Wall Street.
Yeah.
So I think going back, we all agree that the inflation situation is, I don't know if it's going to get better, but it's going to sustain itself moving forward, where I think this is the new norm. Even though you're seeing this stuff in the news, I don't think that this is going to really impact the amount of, like, we all know that these prices have gone up. Gasoline's come down, like we said, but these numbers, this does affect people buying houses. I mean, this has to be something on the table that you have to consider, right? It's not just, hey, can we afford the payment? It's, can we afford the payment? Can we afford, gas? Can we afford to live? Can we afford the new costs?
Because everything else is costing twice as much.
You got energy bills are going up, right, across the board. I mean, it's just all of these things consistently have an impact on an American household.
Yeah, and the big thing is in that same bill, they're wanting to hire 87,000 IRS agents. It's like,
I saw that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You're
putting 87,000 people to work, and yet our unemployment stays a little bit too high.
Yeah.
So that to me is an indicator.
Let me get me started on that one, man.
I know.
Well, let's say this.
But that's just something to keep in the back of your mind. That's what they're looking. It's a money grab. I think this whole
that's exactly what it is.
Inflation Reduction Act.
Well, I mean, it's also too like confidence. We talk about the idea that a confident person in the economy, a buyer of homes or whatever it is, they keep going, right? They keep moving forward. Like, hey, this thing's starting to fix itself. I'm not saying go out and be like, oh my gosh, it's terrible. I'm just saying be aware of your surroundings with this, because is really inflation getting better? I don't know, man. I'll tell you, I have a lot of people call me all the time about real estate and say, I'm looking to buy this house. Here's my payment. Here's my worries though. Things are going up. Is there really a bigger difference moving from California or other states to Las Vegas based upon the environment that they are in and also the cost of living per household? Is it really a difference? I know taxes are there. We always throw out the same stuff, but these questions were questions
property
that were
tax
not,
and no state income tax.
They were not there before.
Make a big difference.
Huge difference.
Just those two facts alone make a difference between here and California.
One of the reasons why I never moved out of here. And the fact that you could always find work. I mean, at whatever point in the 90s and into the 2000s, you could always find work.
Yeah.
So we got a question here, and I want to bring this up. Let's go ahead and bring up. It's for James again. James brought up this question. I'm forced to buy because rent is $2,000 plus and going up. So again, it says I'm forced to buy because rent is $2,000 plus and going up. So look, I mean, now you have a decision that that's on the table where
I hear what he's saying.
Yeah, it's like, okay, rent is now getting so close because it does follow the housing market.
Yeah.
It's so close to what you like. A $2,000 mortgage today though would get you probably around a $300,000 home, right? That's probably, if you're buying into a mortgage, you're putting 5% down, you're probably looking at about $300,000. What can you get out there for $300,000? You're probably looking at a townhome condo, right? Because those sectors are where that's at. Also, you have to put in consideration the HOA payment and the added cost, maybe a SID or lit fee. So again, at $2,000 a month, good luck on finding a house that's going to sustain, because you got to compare.
Yeah.
$2,000 for rent versus $2,000 for a housing payment. If you're buying into a home, can you really get more for rent than buying today? Right. And I think that's the question.
And the thing is the phenomena that's happened that I've seen anyway from my standpoint is that other places in the country rent was higher than mortgage, and we were always lower than rent was always lower than mortgage, and now our rent is coming up to mortgage to where it's getting to the point where
pick or choose.
Because we were always so low on rent. Compared to the mortgage payments. I forget what the ratios were, but they around the Northwest and say out in Colorado and those places that the rent, I was looking at the rent and rent was always up there even above mortgage payments at some point. It's just a matter of that's
So I want to say this, guys. Many of you out there are watching this show and you're not hitting the like button. So if you haven't hit the like button, I got one like. Probably me.
Your mom's watching again, isn't she?
I told my mom, hit the like button and get it started, man. Dude, people need to drink coffee or something. Like, get started. Like, it's Saturday.
Yeah. That's right, man.
And we're starting later. Like, we're trying to get the later crowd, man. I get it. You're out having a good time. You're partying. You're probably got a hangover at this point. But you still need to do into the old FWB, the French workbench. You know what I mean? You got to still tune in, right, Brett?
Listen, I know what you guys were doing last night. Naughty. You need to be watching the show. Clean up your mentality.
So let's kind of move into this. I want to bring this up because Brett, we all agree on this inflation thing. We all agree on what's happening with the slowing of the new listings, and we wanted to bring that up because I think these are numbers and data. I want to kind of segue to talking about Bitcoin, right, or also just cryptocurrency. Because Brett has been watching this, and look, this is going to be a part or a segment real quick before we get into the actual housing market data. But we've seen declines. We've seen where there was almost a plateau where Bitcoin hit 18,000. So talk to us about what you're seeing right now, Brett.
Well, we're witnessing, I don't know right now. So like Ethereum the past month has gone up 65%. So it's still down like, I don't know, 40 or 50% for the year, but just in the past 30 days, it's gone up, I think 60 or 65% because they're coming out with basically Ethereum 2.0, which is basically a better version of it. And I'm trying to keep it simple here.
Okay.
So when Ethereum was first designed, it was the first design that had a utility purpose as far as smart contracts. Smart contracts are basically a set of a process that you can have step 1 through 10 and self-automated, and you basically put it what you want to happen for the process in a computer code. Right. That's what a smart contract is.
Okay.
Ethereum was the first to allow that to happen where you could do that. The problem was when Ethereum came out and was created, the usage of cryptocurrency isn't nearly what it was. So people basically, it wasn't designed to deal with the mass that it is right now. So it's used to such a degree now with so much volume that the computer software behind it, I guess, in a sense, a way of putting it, wasn't designed to be able to keep up for the volume that's handling right now.
So is it?
So now you have all this volume. So that's what made it so expensive to use. And then it got slower and all those things because it wasn't designed for that. So now is an upgraded version of that. So now it's going to be quicker, faster, cheaper, all those things.
Do you still have to buy the whole, or can you buy parts?
There'll be a new one that comes out.
Like,
I'm not sure what the name is, if it's, but yeah. So there's, that's a whole different conversation too, because there might be offshoots of that because the different miners disagree with different things on it. Some do, so there might be. It's going to be a whole thing, but for all intents and purposes, it's upgrading the coin. Okay. It's upgrading the hardware for it. I guess is a good way of putting it. So. But what I wanted to speak about was a couple weeks ago, there was basically a coin that got, or not a coin, but a platform that got hacked.
Oh.
And what the hell are they called? Nomad. I believe Nomad. Nomad was a bridge, which a bridge is basically you have different blockchains out there, but they're with different computer protocols. They can't talk to each other.
Okay.
So you can't have them work with each other if they can't talk to each other. A bridge basically allows one to get transformed over to the other.
Okay.
It's a bridge over. The long and short of it is,
all right,
it's a platform that someone hacked. And what it did was if you sent in 0.1 Bitcoin, you received back 1 full Bitcoin.
Oh my God.
Because they upgraded the software. And there was one little line of code in there that they had done not right. And a hacker was able to find it and exploit it. Once he found it and exploited it, he basically went to a community and said, hey guys, I found this hack in this bridge here. And they basically all went and copy and pasted it. Oh my God. And it got hacked like 190 million in hours.
Ooh.
And it was not just one hacker, but it was now a whole community of people who are simply going in and copying and pasting and getting 1 full Bitcoin back. Oh, crazy.
Wow.
All these things can be done or avoided if you do things like CoinSpec, which is a company that basically runs the full programs and looks for any insecurities or any flaws or any ways that it's vulnerable at all.
Can you buy stuff outside of an exchange, or do you have to go to, like, say, a Coinbase exchange or
you can buy it directly from another person, peer to peer?
You can.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just wallet to wallet.
Okay. Yeah.
It basically is like from one bank account to another bank account.
So,
but you are your own bank and they their own bank. So therefore, you're not going to an exchange.
I got you. So, but to buy any kind of new Bitcoin or Ethereum or
most
whatever,
people at one point buy it. Yeah, I mean, so you
have to go to an exchange.
Yeah, you can go and I mean, there's different ways that you can go and buy it on an exchange, and then you can go to Simple Swap and you can exchange it for a bunch of other coins. And once you exchange it on Simple Swap, the government can basically not find what coins you exchanged it for.
Okay.
So then you can take those coins and store it in your hard wallet. But that's a whole other conversation if you want to go about that way.
Yeah, that's
so
it's interesting stuff.
So anyways, now that our ratings have dropped and everyone's
I got a question.
Sorry, everyone.
I got a question for you.
I got off a tangent.
Okay. Is there any, or would there be any reason for the Bitcoin to be backed by gold, or is there any coins that are actually backed by gold?
I don't think so. Their stable coins are supposed to be backed by are supposed to be backed by USD, American dollar.
Okay.
So that's the whole point of stable coins, which is USDC, which is basically you can sell your Bitcoin and it can go right into a stable coin, and then you can use that stable coin to basically turn around and buy other cryptocurrencies with.
Okay.
So instead of having to go through the bank and wait for the bank to say, hey, you have the money in there and do all those things, you can literally, it's a lot easier to facilitate doing trades or transferring your money to just put it into USD, which is essentially a cryptocurrency pegged by the US dollar.
Okay.
So the US dollar is not pegged by gold anymore, so it doesn't really matter. But to answer that question, no, there's not.
Okay.
So I think there's a world someday where gold and Bitcoin can work together.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah. I think there's a place for both of them. But that's my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, and so Tether is the same way, right? USD,
Tether's a stable coin.
Stable coin.
Supposed to be pegged by the US dollar. But that's a whole conversation too, because they supposedly have proven that they have the reserves and that they have the money in there to back it up, but they they're their own creator. So that you can create, it's like the government. You can just hit print anytime you want. So what's real, what's not, how much did you really, how did you not, how much is really backed? That's a whole nother conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm just learning about this shit too.
Yeah. So if you guys have any questions out there for Brett about crypto or anything, and now's the time to answer or to ask those questions, we can get all those questions.
Send me a message. You know?
Yeah, or
Vegas
right
Crypto
here.
Agent on Instagram.
They're right here. They just said.
Oh, okay.
I got a question for you though. Is now a good time to invest into cryptocurrency? Look, I'm not going to say on a long term. Let's take it from a different perspective. You always answer it as a long-term basis, and is it okay?
Sure.
Great.
Because
if you didn't get into it, if you did not get into it in the very beginning, the question I have is, I wouldn't say it's a stock, but we've seen it go up and down. Is now the time to invest in it because you're seeing it start to go up a bit?
I don't feel comfortable giving someone an answer on that because there's so many unknowns. I know enough about it to know that you can't really make that assumption. I've seen a lot of so-called trading geniuses that have been shot in the last 3 or 4 months because everything came down and it was completely different of what they said. So every time, first of all, the market on it is so new. It's like a 10, 11, 12-year-old market.
Very volatile.
And every time that you go to a bear run, the next bull run consists of a whole new group of money.
Yeah.
And that group of money gets bigger and bigger. So what happened before? I don't feel comfortable enough to say, oh, well, this is going to happen again based off of that because it's a whole new circumstance in a way.
Yeah.
So that's why I only say, listen, if you're going to, and honestly, everybody that I know that holds on to Bitcoin, they'll be the first to admit they're the world's worst trader. They'll say, if you're trying to trade Bitcoin, you're probably going to end up losing. And I can tell you, I did trading for like 3 years between 2017 and 2018, and all I did was lose money. That's all I did. If I would have just held, which I do now, I would be up, which I am now.
Yeah.
So that's why I say hold long term, because I don't know, man. The minute I say that, it's going to go down. The minute I say it's going to go down, it's going to go up. I thought it was going to go to 3,000 or 4,000. It may not now.
From what I'm hearing you say, then regardless, even back from 2017, if you're going to buy it, stay in it, don't trade it.
Yeah.
And
I mean, if you would have bought Bitcoin for the very first time in December of 2017 when it hit 20,000,
yeah, you're still up $3,000.
You would still be up $3,000 at this point. Not to mention when it went up to 65.
Yeah.
So that was buying at the height of the last bull market.
And the intent and the intended use of it too versus
and that's what I'm saying is, and I can tell you that there's so many more coins and so many new projects and so many things going on right now. I literally can't keep up. That's probably why I was probably pretty bad at explaining the new upscale for Ethereum, because there's so much going on, man, that it's like literally.
Do you think a lot of these altcoins, I mean, because I go through my little exchange program that I got on my app or whatever, there's like hundreds of them, if not probably thousands. I think they can't all survive, right?
No, and they're not going to. Most of them don't do anything. They solve problems that don't exist in the first place.
Oh, okay.
or they solve problems based off of blockchains that don't really do anything in the real world anyways.
Problem
right now.
Reaction solution.
Yeah, so there's going to be a ton of them. It's going to be like .com. You're going to have a ton of them fall out and not do it because they don't do anything. Right. They don't really have a purpose.
Right.
And the ones that have the best use case scenario and have the best utility and actually bring a purpose that people can use will survive.
Yeah.
You know? But even within those, there's some smart ass people, some smart ideas of things going on out there.
Yeah.
That are thinking about things 10 steps ahead of where we're at right now.
Sure. I imagine they probably have to, because they got the Starlink thing and the quantum stuff.
And all the great projects seem to usually start around every bear run. So like a lot of the companies now that are doing really well started in 2018, in 2019. So anyways.
Wow.
No, it's good. So you guys, if you guys have any questions for Brett.
You look bored. Dan's like.
No, I'm just listening because I wanted us to, I knew it was going to be a 10-minute conversation.
Okay, we're good. So, I have other things, but.
No, but listen, man, I just want to say this. If you guys have questions for Brett is very knowledgeable, not just in real estate, but also in crypto. And you got an Instagram, right? So just throw it out there because we don't always.
Vegas Crypto Agent.
Yeah, so just reach out to him, right?
Simple. Vegas Crypto Agent. If you have any questions,
reach out.
Reach out. Man.
This is all a network. It's all a family, right?
I have a free course as well.
So there you go, man. And if you got a free course, it's going to turn into
cryptoagentbootcamp.com.
Would you ever consider selling courses for crypto because you're so passionate about it, Brett?
I mean, I'm trying to get that same course over at Teachable right now, but honestly, I don't know how to really monetize it. So I'm like, and you can't go wrong offering free because all you're out is your time.
Yeah.
So it's completely free. I'm not trying to sell anybody anything, and I feel that's usually the best approach to connect with people, which is I have nothing to sell you, man. I have the free course, and you want to learn about it or you don't.
You're selling your time, Brett.
Selling your time.
You're selling your time.
But you're not, because you're learning something out of it. And we talked about this yesterday. You said, well, anybody can go out. And I said, yeah, but I'm saving you time. Anybody can go out and find the information that I provide for them. But I went out and spent the time finding it all, taking out all the bullshit and putting it into one.
Yep.
So there's a couple questions here. Quick shout out to Verstar, also to DJ. You guys are always here.
DJ.
Kismet, James Hughes. You guys are amazing.
All the locals.
I want to say thank you guys. Verstar said looks like he said he's listening from Costco. So he's out shopping.
How's Costco right now, man?
Dude, that tells us that he's a true fan of the show. I mean, if you're at Costco and you're tuning in, you're probably tuning out your wife or whoever you're with. If you're with somebody,
Costco's on a Saturday morning,
and it's chaos, and he's just like, man, I got my headphones. I'm just scrolling.
He's a trooper, dude.
I'm just strolling through Costco, man, listening to the French Workbench. Also, let's look over here. He also has a question about, do you guys have any CPAs that maybe we can refer to Verstar? Do you guys have any good CPAs?
Nope, but I can find a few this week because I know where he's going with that. That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Oh, and we also
had a couple, but I haven't been in contact with them for a few years. So let me.
As always, running at altitude. Also give big shout out to him, or checking out and see what's going on. He has just finished 5-mile run in 96-degree heat. Wow.
There we go, man.
That's like what Brett does, and then Brett gets back here and he almost looks like he's gonna faint.
I'm about ready to some days, man. Running with altitude knows what I'm talking about in this heat.
Absolutely.
Good for him, man. Get out there at that run.
All right, so let's kind of move over to anything. Like I said, if you guys have any questions for Brett, like I said, he's a very knowledgeable person in the crypto space, right? In cryptocurrency. So
I think I am, so it's pretty much the same.
Well, you're passionate. You're passionate about it. Doesn't mean you're an expert, but you're very knowledgeable.
I'm far from an expert, man.
Right. You're not going to tell people how to trade, like you said, but
what you don't know, you can find out.
Like you talked to me one day. I literally read 3 or 4 hours every single day on crypto or something to do with it or blockchain. So it's just because I surround myself around it every single day. So I don't know. That's why I can tell you I don't really know that much compared to what's going on out there. Because you
do spend 3 or 4 hours.
You spend 3 hours. You see all the stuff going out there. It's just mind blowing, man.
Yeah.
So I want to bring this up. So first off, before we get into this, you guys know I'm over here. This is my website. So if you guys are looking to get started on buying a house, I highly recommend getting started at LV Home Professionals. It's a great place to get started to buy into a home because, like I said, it doesn't matter what and how much you're buying. Yeah. It just gives you the information, reduced prices. We have open houses.
And you can break it down for your criteria on the left right there, just like on Zillow or anything else.
It's a great place. Look,
everybody's bedrooms, square feet, areas, all that stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm going to bring that up. Also, move-in ready. So all these things here, we have a move-in ready home. Brand new listing on 664 Peachy
We
Drive.
actually have a bunch of them. Yeah. This is the only one that's on here.
Peachy Canyon.
I mean, we literally have a whole list of builders that.
So we could bring them up. I think it's very important for us to start bringing this up where you guys have access to this. Move-in ready homes, we're going to have that. And then price reduced homes, we've talked about that. So we have a link to all of these things that's in all of these links into our comment section here. So if you guys want to take a look at that, I would love to work with people, maybe just give them some ideas, right, Brett?
Absolutely.
All right. So let's go over here. I want to bring up one other thing here. Let's go back and look at some of the numbers that we see here for this last week, right? This is what we're going week to week. So first off, I want to say this. Look at the prices, or look at the new listings, right? This is a huge number. This is actually in the last 3 years. Let's look at the last.
This is nationally.
Let's look at. So we have.
Right?
No, this is not nationally. This is here, right?
Here in Vegas?
Yeah. So let's do single family residence, right? And let's just bring this up and let's go to monthly and see what it says. So we have 4,766 new listings. See the decline a little bit? Yeah. And that's what I'm trying to say is, guys, it's just because we're paying attention to the data and we're looking at this information, right? Also, if you look at the sales price, look at this one down, and we talked about this, 465. Now, I was bringing this up because we see it on a week-to-week. I predict it's going to be at 455, maybe even 450.
Probably.
Going into next week.
I mean, what you're going to see...
Because you're seeing a decline.
Yeah, you're going to see listings, like they're going to start being correlating with each other a lot more, right?
Absolutely.
So you're going to see listings go up a little bit. You're going to see home prices go down. You're going to see more affordability, and it's evening itself out right now.
So look at the
on its way to do
Let's look at the days on the market. Everybody asks a question about, is days on the market, is that really, so let's go the average
That's
days
still
on.
pretty low though.
It's
12,
low.
16.
See, and that's the thing, is that you're still, even then, you still see properties still selling very quickly or pretty quickly, but you are seeing on, more homes now hitting that 30-day mark. Can you get a better deal on that? Not always true, right? I mean, just because it's on the market, maybe it's overpriced, but the listing.
Well, it depends what the seller situation is. A lot of people say, have that theory, which you can get away with it and try that, don't get me wrong. But usually a lot of times what it comes down to is maybe the seller just can't afford to go that low.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm going to put in an offer for another 40 grand lower. I understand that. And if you can get away with it, awesome. And we'll try that. But a lot of times when there's a no, it's not that a seller doesn't want to sell their house. It's just like, hey, listen, man, I'm either breaking even now or I'm coming in the negative to take. So I financially can't afford to take that price.
Or they don't have enough to go into the
Or
next
they don't have
place.
enough to go in the next house. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's,
one other thing
that
here,
can always be a factor too.
I want to look at, you have now month supply. We're almost at 3 months. Okay. And how long look at this, just in the month of March.
Here's what I wanted to say.
Was that 1 month? Look at the incline of month
that's
supply.
Crazy.
I mean, it's almost directly straight up.
Dude, that's like 150%.
Yeah, it's big, man.
So we were talking earlier this week, Dan and I were, and I told you I was looking at the stats to kind of give people an idea of things. In 2010, for availability supply for homes on the market, in 2010 in Las Vegas was a 13-month supply. Now remember, it's a normal market, supposedly, statistically, up to 6 months. Once you cross over 6 months, it goes into a buyer's market.
Right.
So in 2010, we had a 13-month supply here. Right now, we have a 3.5 month.
That's
you see what I'm saying?
all we got on
so
that
I know
chart.
home prices are going up, but people keep on saying crash. Dude, the crash, we literally had 13 months supply. We have 3.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's just tells
I
you.
mean,
So
calm down.
Yeah, so I get it. I mean, I think it's just anybody seeing a decline or a change because the artificial market,
I get
stimulus, fiscal policy, right? So let's look at this real quick. You have the average price per square foot here in Las Vegas for a single family residence home is now also declining at $267. So, I mean,
For what? Condos?
no, the average price per square foot.
Oh, okay, dude, sorry.
Yeah, for just in single family residence homes, $267. So you're starting to see all sectors of Las Vegas and also the housing market starting to come down. And I feel it's just, like I said, it's going to be more of a balancing act than it is going to be just, okay, we went up, now we're coming straight down. It's now going to just kind of like really settle itself in. I think buyers are going to start coming back. I'm starting to see activity a lot more where people are calling me going, hey, what's going on with this? Can we, should we make an offer? Whatever it is.
I told you next 30
It's
to
not-
60 days, you're going to see it pick up a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, it's not in a huge number. Like I'm not getting a ton of people, but the activity is starting to tick. That's all.
Yeah.
It's just starting to change a bit, and I'm starting to
I'm
see
seeing
people
buyers of
they're
mine
intrigued.
that a year and a half ago, they're just like, I'm just going to not buy. I'm just going to chill out for a while because they don't need to. And they're like, we're not going to participate in all this madness right now.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see those people reach out to me for the first time in a year and a half and say, hey, what's going on? And they're starting to
It's interesting
delve
because
their feet back into the water.
I got some clients that are they've been looking for a year and a half, the agent has told me that they've been looking for a year and a half, and they're actually now starting to buy.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
actually.
it's just different. It's a different world. Like I said, everybody's got their position mentally about financially, mentally when they're ready.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where people are at right
Well,
now.
I mean, listen, how many times can you write on a house that you see it and all of a sudden you put in a full price offer and it's 40, 50 grand over in 2 days. And you're just, I mean, how many times can you get beat up like that for you're just like, forget it, man. You know, I mean, I don't blame people when they backed away and said, forget this crap. I mean, it's like, how many times can you have that happen before that's such a turnoff?
Yeah.
You know, so I get it.
Where do you guys, so you guys, let's segue to another, we're going to go over to Doug, but do you have anything else to say about this housing market? Because I know right now I see buyers, people are willing to sell. Doesn't mean it's going to sell. You're starting to see properties sit on the market now if you're listing your home 2 to 3 weeks in some ways, in some cases of these homes. So what else can you add to this housing market? What else can you add to this housing market? Anything, or did you think you covered everything?
I mean, we're just kind of, like I said, I mean, my personal belief is we're just kind of at a standstill right now. Things are evening themselves out, and that's what's happening right now. So in the next 30 to 60 days, I think things are going to start going again. And they're going to be nowhere near where they were the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So everybody needs to understand that. It's going to be normal, but we're getting more back towards normal right now. It's that initial shock freaked people out. You know? Yeah. And so, I mean, we were all drinking the same Kool-Aid for 2 years, but man, people need to understand for 2 years, that's not going to happen again. That wasn't normal. That was on rocket fuel.
Yeah.
So coming away from that is like, I need to absorb that for a second, and then I need to come back to earth. But coming back to earth isn't that bad. Freaking out, doomsday is bad, but coming back to earth, we can get along with that.
Well, it's actually been, the last 2 years have been tremendous, but it's actually been for a longer period than that. It's been, I think it's been for like 3 or 4 years. Because I've
really accelerated the last couple of years. So yes, it just didn't start from 0 and go to 100. No. It was building, but once it hit that point, took off.
Because my schedule has not been. It's always like my schedule for doing home inspections has been always 4 or 5 inspections into the next week.
Yeah,
and this is, right now, I just it's slowing down a little bit just because of the month and the time of the year and all that other stuff. Now I've only got 1 or 2.
So you're experiencing what realtors have been for the past 2 months. Well, where did business go, boss?
Yeah,
I'm going to say this. So
but it's kind of nice, I mean.
Everybody has that knee-jerk reaction once the market changed with rates.
Yeah.
So you're going to see people think, okay, rates are going up. I'm going to miss my opportunity to sell my house for the highest profit. So there was probably a good month.
They already missed that.
Well, there was a good month or two that's why you've seen such a huge increase in supply right away.
Yeah.
And I think now you're starting to see that leveling off a little bit where it's like, okay, well, everybody knows now you're not going to get the best price. You should have done that at the beginning of the year. You would have had $40,000, $60,000, $70,000.
Dude, you want to know how stupid it was? I had a client that bought from me in he bought from me in May of 2021, and him and his partner had to move back to Minnesota 10 months later. And we put the house on the market for, I think, $65,000 or $70,000 more, and they got it within a week. And that was like a 7 or 8 month period. And I think we sold it at $475,000. So we're not even talking about a $700,000 or $800,000 house. That's stupid, dude, to be able to buy a house and sell it 10 months later without like remodeling it and flipping or anything like that, and to be able to make money off that.
That's crazy.
That's stupid, dude. That's not normal.
That's like hitting the
spike. I mean, how long can you have a market like that, man, before things get too expensive?
That's like going on. That's like going on with a Reddit crew and getting AME at whatever.
Dude, it's like enjoy while you can, because shit ain't happening again.
So we're gonna go ahead and segue to we're gonna move on to over here with Doug. So Doug or not, let's talk a little bit about what's happening in your world. You're saying you're booked. Yet you see a lot of people think that this market's stagnant and slowing down, but you're seeing that you're booked, right, every single week. Like if you look at your calendar.
Yeah, every week has been booked, and I never really look too much to forecast what I'm doing. It's basically I could get 5 calls on a Monday, and then all of a sudden I'm booked up for the
right.
week,
Everyone's like, so what's as a realtor, how's your day? Oh, it looks pretty open by 10 a.m. My day's filled.
Yeah. and that happens a lot.
I'm like, give me another 2 hours. I'll let you know.
Yeah. That happens a lot. And it's so, it's always been, I keep a steady like 7 to 12 inspections a week. And, one of the things that I heard this week, which was kind of interesting, is one of the agents that I had. We were sitting there talking, just kind of bullshitting at the inspection, and he said, yeah, his seller wanted to sell his house, but he just didn't, wasn't really trusting what the agent had to tell him. And so he held off for about 5 months or so, 5 or 6 months. And then he wants to put it back on the market.
At that price that it was 5 months ago.
Price 5 months ago. And we were sitting there talking about it, and just kind of one of those things.
And it's the agent's fault.
Well, yeah. And
just trust me.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah. And so the thing is when I know a lot of times these people, you have to do your due diligence and you have to be responsible for your own, your responsibility is to make money for yourself. Nobody's going to do it for you. So the thing is when you second guess somebody who's got their nose in the charts and on the pulse of what's going on, listen to what they have to say. Because I mean, a lot of times the agents, they're gonna sell what they're going to do what they do. I mean, they're going to sell houses.
Well, real estate's one of those things.
But if you ask the questions and you don't like the answers, then you need to go in and do a little more due diligence, because this guy wanted to put it on for like you said, $150,000 more than what the agent could actually put it on the list for. So, but the same guy, he's been doing listings for like the last 2 years, and I'm just now seeing him start to get back into the buyer's agent side.
Yeah, it's a different world right now.
It is.
But you're still booked. You still have people wanting to buy houses. Yeah. You still have things happening where activity. And look, man, I mean,
it's interesting the variety of different homes that are actually being bought too. Some of them are. I still had, even last week I had one that was 967, and I had another one that was just a wreck at like 260, and it had a 65-page report on it.
Oh,
so yeah,
are you serious?
So
bring in the wrecking ball, bro.
I know, right? I look at it and it's just like, really, okay. This is a demo, but
do you do anything different? Like where if you're, I'm obviously the time period, but you take a different approach. Like if you're buying a townhome or condo, which a lot of people are forced to buy, are those a lot easier to do a home inspection on than say a single family residence home?
Yeah, they are, because you don't have so basically when you have bedrooms, bathrooms, and different areas, you're putting all your information in on each one of those areas. You don't go in and say, doors don't open and close properly, and then just leave a blank check for it. It's like basically what I do is I detail out what room, what door, what window, which outlets, and so
you're very specific.
Yeah. And so when you have, like say when you have a condo, you got 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, 2 bath, whatever. And 1 living area and a kitchen. So I mean that area is a bit smaller, and then sometimes air conditioning units are on the roof, sometimes they're on the ground, and it just kind of depends. And so, but condos and townhouses are easier than residentials in some cases. But when they go into like the old ones, the ones that were built in the 60s and 70s, then you have a little bit of there's little challenges with that too. And just seeing them over and over and over again, you kind of know what to look for. So
if you guys have any questions for Doug or not over here during the show or even after the show, I mean, we'll answer the questions now, but we're about to end the show here. But I wanted to bring up, you have any final thoughts on anything happening in Las Vegas pertaining to your job?
Yeah. Right now, it's the big thing is okay, one of the things that I have always told people is you pay for what you get. You get what you pay for.
Yeah,
basically.
Absolutely.
And so when I go through a house, it's a detailed inspection, and I've hung my hat on that for the last 22 years, and so I get people nickel and diming me for like $5 or $15 or $20 or do a free inspection here, whatever. It's still my time if you want it done correctly. It's just like anything.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to say this, guys.
get that,
Please reach out to Doug if you guys need a home inspector, or if you're a realtor out there and you watch this show, because I think there is some out there, then reach out to Doug. Give him some opportunity because he's really good at what he does.
Or if
He's
you're
very
a seller and you're thinking about putting your home on the market and you want a
Yeah.
home inspection done just so you know what's going on in
I've done those
ahead
too.
of time, because then you
Yeah.
kind of know what your leverage and negotiation is or isn't ahead of time in a lot of different ways by doing that.
Especially in a buyer's market.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like as soon as they write an offer, here's a home inspection.
What's your
You're gonna
website,
know right
Doug?
away.
It's lvhomeinspections.com.
Okay, and I can vouch, man. I've had Doug do a lot of work for me.
So have I.
Yeah, and he's very thorough. He's very good at what he does. So please reach out to him. Guys, this is it. We're going to end the show. This is the most real behind-the-scenes information, financing, real estate, money talk, entrepreneurs going on here in Las Vegas. I'm your host, Dan French. Like I said, if you guys are needing into a home and you guys want to try to get started on buying a home, I want you guys to look at this right here. This is my website. Please go here, LV Home Professionals. Also, we have move-in ready specials. We had the Pierce. That was also move-in ready. Huge incentives for builders. So there's a couple of properties.
Buying down your rates.
Yeah, they're buying down rates. They're giving you huge price cuts on flooring. Prices of homes everything's on the table.
Yeah.
We have all this information in the comment section. So please look at that. Again, we have links in here for move-in ready special homes. These are a couple right here. This one is the Juliet. And we also have the Pierce, right? So this is the two that we're really highlighting this week and last week. Also, price reductions on homes and open houses. So if you guys are out there looking to buy a house, we are your resource. Go to my website, lvhomeprofessionals.com. That's it for me, myself, and I. Dan French talking myself.
Doug, any last words?
Doug?
I'm good. Have a great weekend. Thanks for having me on.
Stay classy, Las Vegas.
You guys hit that like button.
Stay dry.
We need
do the Ron Burgundy.
we need more likes. Please hit the like button, guys. We'll see you guys on Tuesday. We should have a guest on. We were going to be on last Tuesday. I was